Good morning, Gary. It's time for a sober designated driver edition of social drinking, I guess, as I have an 18-month-old having time to booze it up at night and then bullshit on videos on YouTube is obviously kind of tough sometimes. That's why I haven't been posting videos in the most timely of fashions in response. Uh, but it's like 6:20 in the morning, and that's a little early right before work to start drinking. So instead of booze, I thought I would see your shot of Everclear with taking a nice long drag of Sriracha. First thing to hit my stomach this morning. What could possibly go wrong? So let's do this. Delicious. Oh, oh, this may have been a bad idea. But anyway, in response to your videos, um, first of all, let me just say that when I said winning in that last video, I meant it less in the sense of competitive, like winning, and more of like a Charlie Sheen, like Tiger Blood Warlock winning, I guess, because I don't remember, and I don't want to go back and look because I hate seeing myself. But anyway, moving on to the discussion of politics. I'm sure we'll talk about this more in the coming future because the presidential campaign is just starting up and that's how things go. But I just want to talk about Bernie Sanders a little bit in response to what you posted because I love him and he's my new boyfriend. Um, what's interesting to me about Bernie Sanders is that he's kind of the only uh, unabashed liberal, especially in the media landscape in America right now. Typically, what happens when a liberal or Democrat or whatever gets interviewed in the media is they will pose a Republican talking point as fact and ask the liberal to respond to it. And so what happens is uh, they'll say things like, well, why do you want to make our country look more like Scandinavia? And the average Democrat will be like, oh, America's great, and I'm just kidding, and, I didn't really mean to imply that we're not the greatest fucking thing in the whole world, so please don't hate me. And that's not what Bernie Sanders does. When he was doing an interview with George Stephanopoulos, he was asked basically like, "Hey, I can already hear the Republicans saying you want to make America look more like Scandinavia and socialism and all that. How are you going to deal with that?" And Bernie Sanders' immediate response was, "What's wrong with that? What's wrong with looking more like Scandinavia? There's good things. Why can't we have those good things? We can have those good things if we do this." And like that's empowering because it's also, I think, pushing the ideas of liberalism and progressivism forward in a way that could garner a change in how people understand what being progressive is and how they see what the policy ideas of Democrats are. Because right now, the policy ideas of Democrats, especially when facing a corporate media, is to kind of be corporate themselves and not progressive. But in addition to all that, foregoing how much I love Bernie Sanders, I just have to say that success for him isn't winning the presidency. He can be very successful without winning because he's going and has already and will continue to completely shape the debate about what everybody decides to talk about by being a kind of a firebrand for, hey, this is important, let's talk about it. And uh, he's going to bring up things like Wall Street reform, like Citizens United, like financing of political campaigns. Like those three things right there are kind of some of the most important things in our country right now, as far as I'm concerned, along with tons of other things that he's got very good positions on, in my opinion. But yeah, he's going to change the debate. He's going to push Hillary to the left. If he gets 15 to 20% of the delegates in the primary section, he can also use that as leverage at the political convention to change the party platform to get himself a position in the administration or to just, again, push Hillary left, which I would argue needs to happen for her to be a better candidate than she is right now. Um, so yeah, like all of those things are completely possible, given the fact that he's already doing quite well in fundraising without having to use super PACs or anything. I think he could have a successful campaign without becoming president. And that's a cat that you just saw. Kind of, it's a cat. But yeah, anyway. Uh, so yeah, that's what I think is interesting about his candidacy, is that success is not measured in living in the White House for him. It would be great, I think, if he did, but if not, I think he can still be successful in his campaign, and it'll be fun to see where things go from there. Outside of that, I wanted to actually ask you, as this past weekend was Memorial Day and you're a veteran, uh, and last night I watched American Sniper. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about your experience, and we've talked a lot about your past in the military, and I think that's a thing that a lot of people do talk about freely and openly, and it's a subject we can talk about. But what I'm curious about and interested in is actually your perception as a veteran of portrayals of the military in media, from video games to movies, TV, uh, newspaper articles, whatever. And like obviously it's not real in a lot of ways that I'm sure would be easy to list off for you. But what I'm wondering is it improving? Or is it getting worse? Or is it about the same as it's always been? Because I can't help but look back at older movies like, um, Patton, and, some of the movies from like the 50s and 60s about World War II, Bridge Too Far, Bridge Over the River Kwai, some of those like World War II glorification movies, and I can't help but thinking at least maybe we're getting better at dealing with like how we talk about the military. Um, but I don't know for sure, and I'd like your opinion on that. So we'll see you soon.